I had never seen a single Star Wars movie until last week, so I was coming in with the background knowledge that Indiana Jones was in it and Carrie Fisher was recently dead. But honestly, while watching Star Wars A New Hope, I had such a good time. Let a Star Wars virgin break it down. The whole movie is a relatable juxtaposition, like it's constantly alternating between extremes, and yet you can totally connect to the content, despite the fact that it's in frickin' space and everything is weird. A great visual juxtaposition was Darth Vader's entrance. We'd been drowned in white throughout that battle sequence between the stormtroopers and the other dudes at the beginning of the movie, and then literally out of the smoke comes Lord Vader in the most ominous black getup of all time. Then he juxtaposes our instincts when he just looks at the wounded people at his feet instead of, being concerned. Then that whole first part of the movie is followed by the introduction of Luke's simple farm life, and like 5 minutes of two droids bickering in a desert wasteland. This establishes a pattern for the movie of action followed by calm, then more action and then more calm, and it's just this over and over again, which I love because the calm scenes like Luke force training on the Millennium Falcon and that moment between him and Leia after Obi-Wan Kenobi dies were made more impactful, surrounded by pew pew die motherfucker's ass snarky remarks in a trash compactor. I think a lot of modern action movies lack a balance between action and calm, which desensitizes the audience to the impressiveness of the action scenes. They need more calm to make the action more impactful, and I think writer and director of A New Hope, George Lucas, totally gets this. Now, what makes the films relatable is that almost all of these characters are archetypes, which we can pull from other stories and ourselves to connect with. Our hero, Luke Look at My Hair Skywalker, is Frodo from Lord of the Rings, pulled from a world of spiritually unsatisfying familiarity to save people. He's also Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, David to The Empire's Goliath. He's even the Little Mermaid, wishing for a different life and staring wistfully off into the distance above some fantastic music. We rally behind this young, naive dreamer because we are all Luke Skywalker at some point in our lives. Darth Vader is a classy villain we know and love. Like, he's bad, but we also kind of like it. It's how that bad is executed. He's not gross, sexual predator Kathy Ames in John Steinbeck's East of Eden, or a confusing kind of insane like Norman Bates in Hitchcock's Psycho. He's a logical kind of evil. Vader's mind is sharp and he takes care of himself. He just has no morals and a thirst for power that threatens people's lives. He's like cultured and opera-loving Hannibal Lecter or the graceful and entrancing White Witch from Lion Witch in the Wardrobe. Obi-Wan Kenobi is Luke's fairy godmother, basically. Grandmother Willow from Pocahontas, Gandalf the Grey. Dumbledore, hell, he's Mr. Bennett from Pride and Prejudice. The droids we recognize as the comic relief. They're Penn and Teller, Laurel and Hardy, Timon and Pumbaa. R2 and 3PO are adorable and give us insight to the mundane sort of day-to-day culture of this world. Also, George Lucas does not hold your hand through this movie. You get thrown into the film, into a war, into another world, with very little context. For instance, there's no explanation for why the Sand People beat up Luke or why the Jawas make their living selling droids. They just do. There's no explanation for anything, and that's what makes this fantastical reality so believable, because so much of life is like that. So many times we don't get explanation for things, and if you have a movie that spoon-feeds you all of this unfamiliar information, it's not only kind of boring because there's very little mystery for us to solve, it's unrealistic. So, Star Wars Virgin gives A New Hope 10 out of 10, would watch again, and I'm totally going to watch the rest of them converted, changed for the better, seduced by the dark side.